Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lethal Sales. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time and your input in our conversations. Tonight, we are talking about customer experience, which has changed tremendously in the past few years thanks to the internet. And that people usually start their buying journey there. And I think that without even discussing that, we can go directly to Tony, who spends more time in a dealership than probably any one of us here. Tell us about the customer experience and what's different, and is it really improved as we like to think?
Yeah, like, and I'm going to be on all hours, so I
Oh,
came out to my car anyways, so we're good. You know, some of you know my story a little bit, but I built my first website to sell cars, literally to sell cars in 1997. All right, so think about that. That's coming up on almost 30 years ago, and everybody thinks the internet's a new thing and it's a wow, zing, bang, whatever. But way back then, no manufacturers had websites per se other than Ford and GM, and they were basically static black and white HTML, basic HTML that was before JavaScript and CSS and all that. But it was pretty crazy how I got into it. I got tired of kicking the dirt on the lot. I was never a fan of the fresh up, and I won a sales contest. A week in Hawaii, I worked for the Gordy Boucher Group, won a sales contest, and Gordy said, "You get to go to Hawaii, Oahu, for a week." And I said, "Can I take the money and buy a computer?" And he says, "What the hell are you going to do with a computer?" That was Gordy. "What are you going to do with a computer?" I said, "I'm going to sell cars." And that was the beginning of it. And I built this website. I built the photo process, and guess what? I built it, and they did not come. They didn't come. Nobody came, right? Like nobody came. Why? Because nobody had computers, right? There were no personal computers at on Wendy's desk. You didn't have a smartphone. You had none of that stuff. And so after about 6 months, man, guess what the website domain was? Gordy Boucher Madison. Gordy Boucher didn't even know what a website was, right? And so you'd put Gordy Boucher into this old search engine called Yahoo, and it would pop up, and that's my pretty face on the front page. And Gordy's like, "You stole my name." I said, "No, I did." Gordy, you didn't even know this existed.
They always want to take credit. All these dealers always want to take credit.
Yeah. And so the way I got it going, guys, I got to tell you, I did a little guerrilla marketing. I thought to myself, how am I going to get people to buy cars online if nobody's got a computer? And it dawned on me that the only computers in Madison, Wisconsin were owned either by the government or by University of Wisconsin-Madison. And so I headed down, I printed out flyers, big yellow flyers, 8.5 by 11, went down to the campus, and I pinned this flyer up. It said, "Buy a car online." Nobody even knew what online was. GordyBoucherMadison.com. Gordy didn't even have a website for his entire company, right? And I pinned up these flyers in every cafeteria, study hall, post, you name it. I pinned up these flyers. And lo and behold, slowly but surely, the professors started to call me up, right?
That's awesome.
And that's how I got started. So it's changed a lot, guys. And the bottom line is it's going to change as much in the next 5 as it has in the last 30. I'm convinced of that. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely, Tony. You are right on with that, and as you say, this the entry speed of profitability in that. And you mentioned Yahoo. Yahoo didn't make a dime for 19 years. 19 years they functioned at a loss. So it was all an investment money, and everything is an investment when we talk into digital. So yeah, you're right on there. But Tim, you're in a dealership as just as much as Tony is, and
Love
as
it
we
too.
you
Live
know
here. Enjoy
yeah,
it.
you're in the great state of Ohio,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
down the road from my favorite university.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think about customer experience in the digital world, and how fast word travels when there is a challenge?
Oh, it's the I'll answer the second part. It's immediate. You'll hit one. If it's not smooth to begin with, you'll hear about it. You'll hear about it through your Google and online reputation, and that's so key to making sure you're not going to make everybody happy, but you got to make a lot of people happy, and that's so key to that. And then the whole digital online experience, it has to be smooth. It has to be comfortable for the customer to really enjoy the experience of buying a car. And a lot of customers will tell you, "Hey, I don't like buying a car," but they'll do it, and they want that transaction, and they'll tell you they want that transaction. They want it easy. They want it simple. They want it hassle free. They want to be able to know what their trade value is. They want to know what the price of the car is. A lot of times before they come in, and if you're not willing to give it to them, guess what? They'll go down the street to the next guy.
Until they get the information that they seek, you don't have any control. Well, I shouldn't say that. And a lot of people on this call will agree with me. There is no control anymore in the car market because the customer holds all the cards all the time in each and every process because they can do the research with instant gratification on a smartphone.
The truth is, if you don't give them a price, you force them to shop you.
Yep.
Sure.
They have to. They don't have a choice. Can't buy a car if they don't get a price.
Exactly. Would you go to a grocery store and just fill your cart full of items and then walk up to the cash register thinking that one, you could afford it, two, that you have the means to pay for it? No, you wouldn't. And that's something that we got to get over on our business. And David, you came up with something very unique the other day on another call that with the artificial intelligence that's out there, we'll have AI negotiating deals for us.
Maybe. I mean, I think that's going to be part of the future to have AI personas, to have a shopping assistant that you reach out to and help you buy a car. But I think it really still always comes down to the humans, no matter what we do. With AI, AI and I have a love-hate relationship with AI. I mean, I do love the technology. I love everything that it, helps and streamlines everything we do. But I also always see the limitations and security risks to everything with AI. So it just, you can teach an AI or tell an AI to drive your car, but it's never going to see the pothole that's there. It's never going to know how to adapt, to a different tonality. It's just not going to understand it. It's like anything. It's garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that, we'll reach a point where we can have an AI go down the funnel so far, and it might be able to contact your AI and go so far. But in reality, I don't think we're ready for it 100% yet. And I think a lot of things in the car dealership is simply because the OEM likes to kind of guard all of our products too. They lead gate things, and they make us think that because we got a lead that came in that person's ready to buy today. And the truth is that they're not ready to buy yet most of the time. And then, we sometimes get these leads in, we engage them, but we cause enragement with people. We don't answer their questions right. So that's why we're talking about AI, is that so many times we just don't read the leads right. But I mean, the basics and things like you said and other people have said, and so many of you guys are experts. It's just, we don't always ask the whys. Why didn't they come in? Why didn't we sell that car today? And that's the thing that AI really can't do. It can't read the emotion and the tone. I think we will get to a point where it helps us so far down the tunnel. But right now, it's another novelty until we really learn how to use it. It's a toy, but it's a toy that doesn't know how to do everything yet. So we just have to teach it and work with it like anything else, and we'll adapt to it. We're car people.
So in saying that, and I'll conclude with something that I believe in, and Jeff put it, he wants to jump in on this one too. The benefit in where I see AI in the CX in the
You guys
digital
are
world,
frozen.
we're frozen.
I'm going to
Never
turn
mind.
up
Now
the.
you're not. Sorry.
Okay, where I see the benefit in the digital world is as a true assistant to the operations, putting out the minutia that the contacts, the constant contacts, what is relevant for content today, what is not, what should we giving our team members, like the best one that I know for content and contacting a customer is in the fall and the spring for the tire warning lights, and just saying, hey, listen, this light, picture of this light, it's coming up. It's going to come up on your car. Come by the dealership. We'll reset your tire light, and we'll make sure your tires are at pressure. Great opportunity for them to come back to the dealership, and we just set it and forget it, and bang, it's going to go out. Um, it that's where I see the benefits of AI for customer service and or customer experience with the dealership to retain those customers. And we're going to have a conversation, a deep one tomorrow night. But Jeff, why don't you jump on and tell us what you think about the digital world with your 121 days before you can get in for service.
Well, I first I got in a couple minutes late, but it sounded like you guys were talking about calculators or
Yep.
something to do with that. And I had the same analogy for like, to help people that might be intimidated or scared of AI. And it's like, just think of it as a calculator. You got to put numbers in to get something out, but it's smarter than you and it's quicker than you, to give you an answer. And in a lot of ways, AI is like that. I mean, one of the things we're just about getting ready to launch, and it's technology processes too, but really highly driven by AI because we use AI at the beginning of the inbound call to say, I'll keep this very simple. Was this a sales opportunity and was there an appointment made? Okay. And I'll just use like a service department for the moment. And if there wasn't an appointment made and it was a sales opportunity, we're now able to have an AI call out to that customer or actually call out to the store and say, you have a missed opportunity with Peter Smith, who called yesterday about getting an alignment on his 2024 Camry. To connect this call and follow up, press 1. Boop. So you take a second swing at them because the AI teed it up. You didn't have to do anything but answer the phone yesterday, right? And it's given you the simplest way with one push of one button to contact that customer. And of course, we're monitoring that outbound call also. So we know if you reached voicemail, if you were able to get an appointment set with them or anything like that. So it's really dipping in virtually in real time. A lot of the stuff is post call, but the information's there essentially as soon as you hang up. So we know what next steps need to be. And if you made the appointment, great, we take you out of the dialing sequence, right? So, humans are integral part of it. AIs aren't going to sell cars yet. And I don't see that happening for quite a while, but it's just so smart. And to the point where, I have a lot of manual processing when I do my billing every month. And until I started using some AI input, I had to sort my list of customers and I had to get, data from here and data from there. But now I built an app that goes out there and does all those things as soon as I upload a file. Again, it took me a couple of days to build it. Mike's shaking his head, he knows. It took me a couple of days to build this, with AI products. But now I have a solution that's plug and play. And, it's saving me 2 hours on the first day of the month with billing. So, there's so many different ways to use it, but you got to be smart with it. Just like I think, you said earlier, it's all what you put into it. You got to know what you want out of it. And interestingly, you can reverse engineer it because you don't have to have all the answers, but you say, I want a spreadsheet that does this, this, and this when I upload it. And then the AI uh, apps that are out there will ask you questions. Okay, do you want this? Do you need this? And then when you get it working and you keep testing it, it says, okay, do you want me to now change this where you can have one button to do everything, right? It's amazing if you use it in the right way. And yes, it does make mistakes. One of the other things, several of my clients in the tire and auto space, business is down, in their service, and they all have suspicions that their stores are turning away customers that want to get in today. So I used AI to do a query of every phone call and listen for phrases like, oh, we're slammed today. No, can't get you in today. We can't do it. Whatever, they're turning away opportunities. And it's pretty stout. And I haven't found a lot of them. So I think I'm kind of in some ways chasing my tail, but at the request of my clients. But to find out, and let's just ensure that we are taking in everything we can today, you know. And to Peter's point, I'll end with this. My wife's got a car, a Lexus. It's under warranty, and it's due for its first oil change and rotation and whatever the first checkup is. So I go on the website, my dealership, and I click on, yeah, you need a loaner, and it comes back and it says next loaner is available in 103 days. I posted this on LinkedIn. I said, you wonder why there's attrition at dealership service departments?
Absolutely.
I said, here's one for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't, I can't wait 103 days. So I'll try to whine with them and see if they can find me something to drive or her actually. But, the point is, how much business are you deflecting? Now, I didn't even talk to a human that told me 103, right? Because I didn't get that far. I just went to their calendar, said I need a loaner. It had me put my VIN in so it knows my vehicle. And it says 103 days. I had to look at it like 3 times. I said, that can't be right. But yeah, it was right.
Well, at least you're laughing about it.
Well, it's not like I needed something tomorrow. But you know what? I'm more inclined to go spend $75 somewhere else to get it done besides waiting 3 months. And at a dealership, well, they don't have a quick lube, I don't think, at Lexus, but and my son's a Toyota mechanic, so he can change it too. Don't tell him, he just won't. Anyway, did that kind of answer some of the question? I love it, but you got to use it in the right way, and you've got to define the curbs. Everybody says, oh, it hallucinates. In our case, primarily we're using it for the most part to really just tell me what happened on this phone call after the call ended. Was it a sales opportunity? Was there an appointment made? Was there a price quoted? Who was the agent? Is there a follow-up needed? All those things are instantly available, as soon as the call ends. And we're getting to real-time transcription, so I would even know that prior. But, and if there's a follow-up needed, maybe we should send that to Wendy because this guy couldn't close a window.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right?
Jeff, it's interesting. I think the key to making AI make sense is to use it as an interaction, but not as a crutch. We've had crutches forever. When I first got into the car business, my whole thing was probably like everybody else in this program was to get the people emotionally involved, get them excited. And yet I already saw dopes that would pull out of their back pocket the inventory. Let me tell you what we have. I want to tell you what we have. I want to walk you out and go, man, what is that? That looks great. So once again, you can use information to say, this is great. Let me go take him out and show him, or you can just wave a piece of paper. Now, obviously, we've come a great deal farther in terms of technology, but still some people are going to use it as a crutch. And you can't. It's got to be something to interact. Hey, guys, we've I don't think we've ever had Bill Schomburg on before. Bill, do you have any thoughts? I mean, you took the time to come in, and we'd love to hear from you if you have some thoughts or opinions.
Trying to get unmuted. Old guy with technology. Sorry. Actually, these are the kind of conversations that I enjoy listening to because they trigger other thoughts. The thought around the piece, and thank you for the opportunity to contribute briefly. There's telling and then there's selling. And the difference is not necessarily in technology, it's how are we training our people? And I don't have near the experience of the assembled people in this room at the moment. Candidly, I've never sold a car, but I've spent my entire life observing human nature and its impact, because human nature, you can take it to the bank. If I can spend 5, maybe 10 minutes with a person, just getting to know them, they'll tell me more about who they are as a person just in the manner in which I approach and interact with people. That's what I love about the car business, the opportunity to meet and interact with so many people. Lifelong learner. So that's what that brief comment brought to mind. And then here's the last thing. Technology, whether it's software, well, it's all software for the main part, very few device changes, but technology is always going to be a tool. And yet people want to treat it like a solution. It's not a solution. People are, we tend to look for the easiest path. Imagining software as anything more than a tool creates that tendency in people to take shortcuts. True relationship selling, the most successful way to sell a car or anything else, is built on relationships, not technology. So
But Bill, keep in mind that we're in a planet full of people with short attention spans.
Oh, 100%.
All the things that you need to be a good person and a good salesperson, good listening skills, empathy, a genuine desire to meet somebody. And yet these are things that have just vanished in a lot of people.
Well, I would agree for the most part, except for what you said is the last piece, and this is why I love the dialogue. They haven't vanished. They haven't been practiced. And so anything that we don't use consistently tends to atrophy or go away. I recovered from an accident 15 years ago. My physical therapist taught me what you use, you keep. And what you don't use, you're going to lose. My opinion around your remark is we just haven't practiced it. It's all about going back to the shortcut. I completely agree with the short attention span idea, but I haven't personally. Now I'm going to speak just for myself. I've never met somebody who wanted to just walk away from me when I engaged them in a conversation. It's a skill. I'm not attempting to highlight my ability to use it. I'm just always interested in the people that I meet, whether that be somebody just in a coffee shop or standing in line or someone engaged in a conversation related to something that I might be representing or attempting to influence remarks around. So I think we're in agreement. Just the difference between, you're correct, short attention span is a result of societal inputs at this point in time, but it doesn't make people less interesting unless we are
No,
less
no, no.
interested.
Bill, you got to conjugate the verb, my brother. Not less interesting, less interested. Okay.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
the people on this damn show, and yourself included, are curious people. We like to hear other thoughts, other opinions, but we have a dangerous problem with not being curious. It's why people are so liable to grab a tidbit off the internet and just blindly follow it, and just not know how to interact. I say it all the time. I laugh every time I see four people at dinner and they're all on their iPhone. Why'd they bother going out together?
100%.
And Bill, I've been running around like a nut since NADA, and it's probably my 15th straight training class where after I admonish people, please bring a pen because I have them write stuff down. I don't want to give pre-printed things because they'll never look at them again. They don't bring a pen. I'm not mad at them. They don't know how to write things down. It's not of interest to them. They'd rather type it into their phone and get it lost than 9 million other emails. So I'm not saying they're less interesting. I'm saying they're less interested. They're less willing to connect. They're less curious, and it's why we have the dearth of salespeople who are successful. It's why we have the turnover, and it's why we have the society we have now, where everybody feels a little bit disconnected. All right, I don't want to jump on that too much. Bill, you're welcome here every Wednesday if you'd like it. And we don't just have to conjugate verbs. I can help you with other language tools too, which is interesting because I can barely speak myself.
I
we always
love it.
we always wait till the end of the show from Mike Larkin. He's developed a huge inferiority complex. So, Michael, what are your thoughts on this, my buddy? And don't say anything
Just
about
so
language or verbs
shy.
to Schomburg because he's starting to get himself a little complex. Well, you didn't know, Bill. It'd be Sesame Street for the car business. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The land of misfit toys. So I'm of the belief that if you're using AI to create content, content is king. And when you point that content to who's interested and actively interested in your products or services, you're going to gain more visibility in front of those people who are looking for what you do. That leads to more engagement. More engagement leads to more opportunities to increase your sales. It's that simple. People are confused and people are confusing others. And you know what? Follow the dots. It's not brain surgery and it's not even advanced chess. It's follow the dots. And AI is allowed me to follow the dots, and any type of picture that you want to see, follow the dots. You'll create it. So I'm Mike, and I'm dropping my mic.
Russell Hill, we didn't see you for a
No,
little
he
while.
had to
You're
leave.
in and out.
Jumped.
Tell us what your thoughts are, my buddy.
Russell's gone, Larry.
Russell had a jet.
He's closing a deal.
Yeah.
No, hey, you can't fault him for that. Ms. Reeves, Wendy, what do you have to say, darling? And then, I see my buddy Gary Sillman's on mic. Gary, Wendy,
Go
whoever
ahead,
wants
Gary.
to go first.
Gary, go ahead.
Wendy, you giving it up to me? Thank you. The world has changed in the auto industry, and COVID has created new opportunities. And for there's a lot of veterans on here, and Tony, I really appreciate what you were saying, and that you built that first website. And I've been in F&I, and F&I is a process. And to do F&I correctly is you need to have everybody rowing in the same direction. So regardless of what we've done in the past to where we are today to how we're going to act in the future, is we need to be able to meet the customer where they want to be met. And we have all these wonderful software tools. We have people that are eager, but we have dealers that are afraid to make change. And the thing is that what everybody is mentioning out here is that with our cell phones and with software, we can do the whole transaction, including banking, including F&I on your cell phone today. So why don't we do that? Dealers are embracing it, are winning. Today, we know how to capture first party leads. I've been working with Mike on the other end. We're on it looks like what is it? Hollywood Squares. I like it. So Mike's on the lower right and I'm on the upper left. But Mike has taught me is that if you advertise properly and you connect the dots, you get more leads, first party leads. Those are the best kind. So I've been sitting and I still talk about 5 years in my basement listening to all these smart people. We're all saying the same thing. It's just the dealers and the general managers don't want to swallow and drink the Kool-Aid because they're the ones that allow the chaos to run rampant. And BDC departments, I don't know, 15 years ago, was there a BDC department? No, because they had too much infighting and they didn't know how to do it. And so you had pioneers with BDCs. And now you got stores that have BDCs that don't even know how to spell it. And it's like they took some young person that was smooth on the phone and they stuffed them in there and they said, figure it out. So we're just an industry that hates to learn and hates to change and embrace the change. But thank goodness there's a lot of smart people still raising the flag and saying there's fraud in your dealership. There's chaos in your dealership. Let's sit down and see how we can organize it. AI isn't the final solution, but certainly it's a great tool to have in the toolbox. I mean, so you utilize it. It's AI has become all the shit that nobody wants to do. It does it gladly, and it doesn't give pushback, and it doesn't argue. So for anybody who's watching or listening, the salespeople need to empower themselves. The general managers and the owners need to empower their salespeople and they need to build their brand around their people. The people who work in that dealership have been living, raising their families in that same community, and those are who want to be purchased from. That's who it is. I mean, I have just a simple thing that happened today. A wonderful little Ford dealer, Leo Cada's Ford in Warwick, New York. Well, we have the product in there, the Pulse Protect, where it's the blink, for rear end collisions. And New York always wants to be a little gray, saying that Pulse is not meets the used car. You can't. The light has to stream, but it pulses. So it's this whole thing. But the dealer, the point is the dealer knew the police person, the cop. So they're going to communicate, and we just gave the dealer the information they needed to get the cop off of his back by offering the product in his market. So the point that I'm trying to make is the dealer or the general manager is clearly in charge. And you either have chaos or you have organization. And today, you can have tools to monitor anything you don't want to do, but you still need human to sell the car, to put the customer at ease, to see if the dog can fit in the back or the kids' soccer equipment. And we're done with this corporate stuff that just doesn't look at humans buying cars. It's a simple process. You want to buy a car, you don't want to go through the whole rigmarole with the local dealer giving you a hard time. You want to go to a dealer that's going to say, 85% Cox Automotive clearly says people want to start their deal online. 85%. And they want to get their information right back on their phone. And the longer they wait, the more that that dealership loses its chance of selling a car. So I'll drop my mic on what everyone's talking about. It's process, process, process. We just have new tools and they're shinier and they do a hell of a lot better and they don't have bad days and we need to put them to work. Simple. So, but that's that. It's organizing the chaos. Tony, with 40 years ago, we did leases. We knew how to do it. You had to figure it out. Then when leasing dried up, you had to figure out something else. And today, you got to figure out, you got to sell used cars. You got to sell the people the EVs, the ones that want EVs. But the people who don't want EVs, give them their gas and give them their diesel. They're dealers. Sell what you have. That's what you do, and sell service and build community. Pretty simple.
Gary, do I have it right? 30, 40 years ago, everybody on this program, myself included, could do a lease by hand. And now we can't get
and we worked our asses off and we
right, but now we
created
can't
our
get
own
people.
opportunities.
Now we can't get people to answer their phones.
Well, yeah.
Tell me we haven't gone, as the technology hasn't gotten better, tell me we haven't gotten a little stranger.
Oh no, but you see what's winning, and you're proving it, is that the dealers just need more energy on their showroom floor and help them try to win where the strategic leadership and the accountability needs to go back into the dealership. That's the number one thing that's missing is accountability and these Lithia. Lithia figured it out. Some of these they come in and they give a GM a little extra money and they make them manage the organization because there's skin in the game. When you just
Hey, Garrett, I got to conjugate your verb. It's not Lithia. They need lithium. We
No,
need something to
Lithia,
get these
Gary,
people a
Lithia,
little more excited when they see somebody get out of their car.
hey, Gary, Lithia didn't figure it out. A guy by the name of Vince Lombardi figured it out. Gentlemen, this is a football. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And we're all of close to the same generation, right? I want to ask you, Gary and Larry and Mike and Jeff and Tim and David, what was your first sales training class? What was it called?
It's called Follow the Guy Who Knows How to Sell.
It was in kindergarten. We all had this class in kindergarten, if you remember. And there was one student every week that would come back on a Monday and they would bring their favorite toy or object, and it was called show and tell. Remember that? That was your first sales training. And then we built on that by learning how to tell stories. It wasn't just here's my red car and here's where my grandma gave it to me. It's here's what I did with my car this weekend and how me and my brother pushed it around on the rug. And so Vince Lombardi figured out, ladies and gentlemen, this is a football.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Anybody have a funny story about show and tell? Because
Well,
I brought my whole family album in, and each one of those had a little thumb. I put them up with thumbtacks.
Oh my God!
And when I brought them home, my parents were like, "What the hell? What the hell is these holes in all our pictures?"
Oh, so
hey,
you
Mike,
took the
here's
nice
my funny story. Mike, here's my funny story. I brought something every Monday in case the person up forgot. So I could go get every Monday I was trying to find stuff. Because kids didn't want to do it, forget. And so I would go in and close the deal.
That's a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Got to figure
Wendy.
it out. There's the football.
Am I up?
Yep, you're up.
Tony.
So,
yes, Wendy.
Larry, you segued perfectly into what I wanted to bring up. I mean, all of you are absolutely right. And Rhonda, the thing about, or whoever said it, Gary, when the internet started, I remember back around whenever it was, it had to be late 90s when we were in Greece and we were just starting with AOL. And I remember in other countries that didn't have the W in their language, they used to say www, and it was just so hilarious when all that started. Yeah, with the heavy accent because they have a gamma, but they don't have a W. They used to call me Wind because they didn't have a W. But anyway, this is amazing. We're really going back to the future. I think the problem is, and everybody kind of echoed the same sentiment, that it needs to be about the people, it needs to be about process. But here's my thing, okay? And here's what I was talking to David about it. I've talked to a number of people about this. And someone else on a phone call told me it was a question on a panel at a SodaCon this year, and two leading AI vendors could not answer it. I think, David, you're the one who cited that. But what happens? So say we've got, to Jeff's point, you've got somebody that is using AI, and they're okay to use AI. Two different scenarios. The one where they're working with the AI and they want to speak to a human. They want a TO for whatever reason, right? What are they going to do? They're going to send that service call right back to the service advisor phones of the guys that were too busy before you got the AI. Either the voicemails are going to be full and they're not going to be able to leave a message, or they're never going to listen to the messages and call the customers back anyway. And again, you've got dropped calls and churn and losing your customers, everything else, right? So you need the human side. You need to 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 a human. How many times we've talked about this in a number of calls? Operator, operator. For me, it's pharmacy, pharmacy, pharmacist, pharmacist. And I dummy me, I figure in the heat of it all that if I talk louder, it's gonna respond better the way I want it to, right? No. Same as you don't scream at a deaf person and all of a sudden they hear you, or something like that. So the problem is, now go back a little bit further and go back to the fact that telephony companies are buying data. They're merging with data companies, right? Who's calling, or Car Wars or whatever it was. The ones we had 25 years ago that set up our tracking numbers and recorded our calls. However, and they're transcribing all that now, and they're teaching systems, and they're using that to compile a database or a base of knowledge so that they can respond to the customers and convert to appointments. But what kind of phone skills did the people that were being recorded have at that time? They probably sucked. They probably didn't know what the heck they were doing, and nor were we listening to the calls and taking corrective measures, anything else. So the same thing now, we have to take care of our humans, and we have to make sure that we have people in a position to, I thought it was really, really insightful. Who said it? Bill, that AI is a tool, but people tend to use it as a solution. It's a Band-Aid, you guys. It's a freaking Band-Aid. Unless you have the humans, unless you have the process mapped out, the workflow, the everything, you're policing the knowledge base or the configuration of the AI that's representing you, and you're not monitoring it closely, but somebody who knows, right? So I think what we're going to need, I think there's opportunity here for all of us that are trainers and coaches. Why? Because especially if we're OGs and we've weathered the various climates, we know how to address prime versus subprime, right? Hand raisers versus intender leads versus whatever. We know how to do all this already. We have a lot of COVID people in the dealerships, that managers that are overseeing BDCs and service department BDCs, that don't have a clue about phone skills either. And they don't know how to manage or listen or whatever, because they never got the skills themselves. So here's the opportunity. We need to do leadership training. We need to make sure that our dealerships' infrastructures are set and tight and monitored, that we're holding people accountable, that we have KPIs established. And then we need to monitor the AI. And if the AI, if those 30% of the people that refuse to talk to an AI when given the choice, and they want to be transferred to a human, I vote to be available 24/7 with my humans that are there in case there's a person, even at 4 a.m., who got up in a farming community to jump onto his tractor, and that's when he plays with his phone and answers his emails and makes his service appointments and does everything else. But if we're not available, what do? We come into the office 5 hours later. By then, they're in the midst of their day. Their day is half over already, and good luck trying to get a hold of them. So for engagement and everything, AI is perfect. It's wonderful. But also that policing thing, the beauty of AI is that we can teach it to respond to our shoppers with relevance. Every single outreach is going to be relevant to what they're looking to accomplish. And then somebody who opened up early, it might have been Tony, I think a brilliant way to teach that AI, Tony, I don't know if you remember the rich dealer scripts, and I still use them to this day, the discovery scripts. First one to get engagement. Hi, are you shopping for a car for yourself or someone else? Number two is, did you just start looking today or have you been looking for a while? And number three is, up until now, what's kept you from driving a nicer, newer car or your ideal car or whatever? That gave you what? Do you have the decision maker on the hook? Right? Have they been looking for a while? Yes. Why? Then you can say, and then what's kept you? Credit, inventory. They got a kid that's not going to be 16 for 6 months or whatever it is. Then you've got a discovery session started, and then you can approach the rest of it, but you can be relevant. And if you've got that AI also learning inside of your CRM and learning the customer history and everything else, it's going to know that when you try to re-engage with whatever you put into your work plan or your workflow or whatever the terminology is, again, there's relevance, because there's nothing more frustrating than getting a template, especially on a LinkedIn inbox, from somebody that doesn't even, the merge field's not populated, right? You've got all these blank things. You can tell it's a freaking template. Or they send text, there's no engagement, there's no engagement, there's no engagement. Then all of a sudden the BDR gets creative and sends a text message that's irrelevant, and it's like a mini novel. So just because, and they're searching all day long, who do I call next? What do I do? How do I do it? Blah, blah, blah. To the point of Peter and tires and everything else. Yes, it's an absolutely fabulous tool, but we need to approach it the right way. And we need to become AI ambassadors that are going to teach our dealerships how to onboard with the AI, manage the AI, and embrace the AI as exactly what it is, a tool, and not a red or blue pill or a set it and forget it. That's my take on it.
Okay. I just want to jump in on that one statement there. You said tool, and you said it a few times, and I wanted to include something into it, and this misnomer that is out there that vendors are partners to dealers. We're not. We're tools. It in that, and
I take offense to that.
Do you?
Yeah, don't call me a tool, man.
Oh, I won't call you a tool. I'll say what you provide is a tool. You're not the tool.
Peter called me a tool.
All right, I'm shutting down the
think
association.
about it this way. Think about it this way. If we were partners support each other, yes, great. But we also participate in profit and loss. We do not participate in profit and loss in a dealership. We do not participate when there is a separation of partners. There usually is a financial obligation that one partner pays to the other partner. That doesn't happen with a vendor. So we are not partners. We are tools. We are performance-oriented tools to provide a solution to the dealership for their success. Just like Snap-on and Sonic are tools for technicians, they're not vendors to technicians. They're solution providers. That's what we are. And with that, I think we have to recognize we can provide better performance. We can provide quicker performance. We can provide solutions that other tools cannot provide. And that's where the partnership side comes in. But we are not a partner. And that we have to recognize in this movement of moving forward in CX, DX, GX, general experience, overall experience, holistic experience, whatever new letter we want to put in front of the X for 2026, we're there to help. We are not a partner, and that I think has to be recognized as well.
I'm not going to disagree with all of what you're saying, but I try to operate myself, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but as an employee of the company, and make decisions like I'm on their payroll, because I am, and like my biggest client, there was an issue that came up last week, and the IT department came to me, and I fixed 3 things. And I only told IT, I said, I got that fixed and I fixed 2 other things. And then I get an email back from the COO saying, thanks for always looking out for us. Because I'm doing stuff that they don't think about. And yeah, it's my lane and I know that side of the business. But, I feel, and that's gratifying, by the way, to get an email like that from your largest client. But I want to operate and I position myself and I want to help people, as much as I can because I want to be as entrenched in my clients as I can.
Exactly. But you're the Nikes to the runner.
No, you know what, Peter? I'm going
get it.
with Jeff's definition here because when I go in, I consider myself part of, maybe not a partner, but part of the team. I'm providing a facet for my clients that they need, and I'm doing it as somebody who has a vested interest. So, I
But you
refuse
have
to
a
call
vested
myself a tool.
interest. You 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 have a vested interest to continue a relationship for financial success.
Not just that, I want them to succeed too.
Right. But
Yes,
that's
ultimately
financial
it's my
success on
financial success.
both entities. Their success drives your financial success.
If they
And
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's semantics, guys, really. Really. I mean, it really is. It's how you look at the relationship and how you
sure,
apply yourself. I mean,
It's
everybody I know in this room right here is going to over deliver on their products and services.
Right.
There isn't a
exactly.
day that I don't wake up and go, man, this guy's getting a lot of value. He doesn't fully grasp the amount of value that I'm bringing to him, but that's not the point. And then I got to
Exactly.
straighten my head out and get back in the game.
and if you take
Exactly.
care of your customers, you make more money anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, what you what I'm trying to say is that partnership is about it in the term partnership, it is a conjunction of two people operating on the same level. That is
Eh,
It can
not
be.
always. Yeah.
That's one definition.
Who's
I
throwing
wouldn't
the
even worry,
football?
Peter. I wouldn't even worry about what you call it. A rose by any other name would smell just as sweet, and that was Shakespeare. And could you imagine if somebody said, "You don't have to write these plays; we'll just turn AI on. It's all right. He's got plenty of ideas."
That was Shakespeare?
Yeah.
yes.
Mike,
You
there
would
are
you
things
would
other
you
than
would have got
Spider-Man comics. We'll
you
talk
would have
later.
got 4 variations, Larry.
Right.
Which
That's
one do
true.
you like?
Yeah, or one of them, Juliet would have lived, and then she would have become a zombie. The way things go these days. Hey, guys, ladies, boy, it was so nice to see everybody, and we appreciate your time. And we're looking forward to seeing more and more again. We got all kinds of cool things we're working on, and thank you all, every one of you, on behalf of myself and Peter and Rhonda. We appreciate it. Before we roll out, Peter always has something cool for Thursday. Peter, what do you got on tap?
Tomorrow night I have a very great show going on. I have a couple special guests. Guy by the name the Smart Wolf, Daryl Steed out of California. We got the Saddle Up Texan, Tim Hayden on. And then we got my man from Columbus, Ohio, Tim Nilsen. And we'll be talking about retention over acquisition and building lifetime customers.
And by
So,
the way, Peter, before we roll out, all I know this about with all this talk about AI and how things have changed, every store Tim goes into succeeds, and it's not because he's an AI genius. It's because every time I see the guy smiling and he looks happy, and consequently his people look smiling and happy, which means his customers are smiling happy. Am I correct there, Mr. Nielsen?
Hey, we had a 100% CSI last month, so my team, did a great job. Won the district. We're going to work on winning the state, and already had a meetings today with my team out here, my sales team, on how we're going to do that and where everyone has to step up. So,
And that's
awesome.
coming from a human being, not an
Collaborative.
avatar. Guys, we appreciate you to death. We look forward to seeing you. Well, obviously, we'll see a lot of you tomorrow on Peter's show, but everybody stay healthy, and thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, everyone.